In this guide you will learn how to master the ability cryokinesis, also known as glaciokinesis. You probably already know, but if not, it is the ability to manipulate ice by slowing down atoms and molecules surrounding you. It helps to have thermokinesis when learning cryokinesis, but if you don't, that's fine, as it can be learned without it. Crack open a drink. Oh sorry, it's warm? Let me get that for you, and now keep reading. What is cryokinesis? Cryokinesis is the ability to manipulate ice and cold temperatures. In layman's terms, cryokinesis is the ability to lower the kinetic energy in atoms, which then lowers temperatures. When wielding this power, the temperatures can be lowered an extreme amount. Some other powers that are associated with cryokinesis include frigokinesis and thermokinesis. Frigokinesis is the ability to manipulate snow, which is one of many aspects that one will be able to achieve when wielding the incredible powers of cryokinesis. Although frigokinesis is only the manipulation of snow, it still holds the potential to be an amazing power to practice. When you think of snow, you typically think of little snowflakes falling from the sky and big mounds of ice on the ground as far as the eye can see. Frigokinesis is not just limited to the relaxing side of snow. It can range from a little snowfall to an avalanche if the wielder's powers are strong enough to be at this point. As you can see, the power of frigokinesis is similar to cryokinesis in parts. Thermokinesis is also a part of cryokinesis. Thermokinesis is the ability to control and manipulate temperature. This power can be extremely powerful depending on the wielder's abilities and strengths, which can also be quite dangerous if used in the wrong manner. Although thermokinesis focuses on both hot and cold temperatures, it is still very similar to cryokinesis in some parts. It is also a great example of what can be achieved when manipulating cold temperature. In this case, manipulating ice. Uses of cryokinesis? As you should know by now, cryokinesis is based around the manipulation of ice and cold temperatures. This power can be extremely useful in everyday life. Cryokinesis may seem uninteresting to some, but it is in fact a really cool and interesting power to learn. It also holds the potential to be one of the strongest powers that one can wield. Of course, this is only if you are up to the challenge. To become great at something, it takes a lot of time, patience and concentration. Once you reach the point where you can manipulate and control this power to your greatest ability, it will be fulfilling and 100% worth the time and practice put into learning and performing this power. Like all powers, there are certain times when being able to perform this power come in handy. Whether it is in your day-to-day life or if it is just on a rare occasion. There are many different uses for cryokinesis that can be helpful and beneficial for most people. An example of a day-to-day use for this power would be to make ice or icy poles. On hot days, the best things to have are ice water and an icy pole. Imagine going into the freezer to get some ice and finding that it is not yet frozen and is still in a liquid state. If this were to happen, there would be need to fret if you are a wielder of cryokinesis, as you will be able to make instant ice, thus being refreshed and hydrated without having to wait hours for the water to freeze. Another example of when cryokinesis would be useful is if your freezer were to break down and stop working. Most foods that go into a freezer will go off if not tended to and frozen. Cryokinesis would come in handy, as a wielder would be able to keep the products frozen for long periods of time while waiting for their freezer to be fixed. Anyone that has lived or visited a very hot and humid place will know the struggle of cooling down, especially if you do not have an air conditioner. By using cryokinesis, one will have the ability to cool their body temperature down to something more comfortable for the climate, or if one does not wish to use this power to manipulate body temperature, they will be able to cool themselves down with a few different options.